Hey, hi, hello everyone, welcome to the channel and into a new episode of Take a Bite, the show where I'll talk about a manga, I compare it with its anime adaptation, I tell you the differences between them, and at the end I'll give you my final thoughts. My name is Fangs and today I'll be talking about Yuyu Hakusho. The manga is written and illustrated by Togashi Yoshihiro, who also made Hunter x Hunter or Hunter x Hunter. The manga of Yuyu Hakusho began serialization on December 3rd of 1990, and it ended on July 25th of 1994. It has a total of 175 manga chapters within 19 volumes, and the anime has a total of 112 episodes. The manga won't take you that long to read, because if you're used to really long manga like Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, it is not gonna take you more than a week or maybe a week and a half. And when it comes to the anime, it really is gonna take you like a month, or maybe a little more, maybe less, depends on how many episodes you watch a day. But now let's talk about the plot. The story begins with Urameshi Yusuke being at school. He's this little guy with a green uniform, he's really well known for that, and he has a pompadour. It's kind of like a really small one, it's not a huge one. And when he's not wearing his green school uniform, he's wearing white shirt with jeans and a jacket on top. So he's a 14-year-old teenager delinquent who likes to fight at other delinquents, other guys from rival schools. He's not really good at school, actually, and he gets in trouble really frequently. Professors always yell at him, even his mom yell at him, so he feels like he's not liked by anyone. One day he got tired of everyone, he just got angry out of nowhere, and he got yelled by a professor, so he's like, you know what, I'm gonna skip school. He jumps the fence and he starts walking on the streets. Later on, he encounters his eternal and #1 rival Kuwabara, which is this really tall guy wearing a blue school uniform. He has a really shaggy or curly hair pompadour, his hair is colored orange, and he's really loud. He always screams, he's always angry, and he's the funniest character in the entire series. He's one of my favorite characters of the manga. So yeah, they start fighting each other, they always fight each other, and Kuwabara loses. Yusuke wins and Kuwabara makes the statement that Yusuke is the strongest of all the delinquents that he had fought, but Yusuke says that Kuwabara is the only one that can resist more than one of his punches. After the fight, Yusuke keeps on walking and he encounters a little kid playing with a ball on the sidewalk. Here's when we know that Yusuke is not really that bad of a guy after all, because he approaches the kid and gives him the message that, hey, you need to stop playing on the sidewalk, because if you lose the ball and it goes into the street, you can be run over by a car, so you need to be careful. The kid at first pretends to be listening and he says like, yeah, I'm not gonna do it anymore. But he keeps on walking and he loses the sight of Yusuke and he starts playing with the ball again. So Yusuke gets angry, but just as he gets angry and starts yelling that, get damn kid, he's not paying attention to me, he didn't pay attention to me, the kid loses the ball and it goes into the street and the kid almost gets run over by a car. But Yusuke pushes the kid out of the way and he gets hit instead. Yusuke dies on the impact and he becomes a ghost. At first he doesn't understand what is going on, but a girl comes flying around from the sky. Her name is Brenton. He's this really cute girl, blue hair, wearing a pink kimono. She's wearing something else later on in the manga, but at the beginning she's wearing a kimono. She's kind of like the Grim Reaper of this world. She approaches him and says like, hey, you died. You died, but you weren't supposed to. You died out of nowhere. We weren't ready, you weren't ready, and we're going to give you another chance. We're going to give you a trial, and if you succeed, you're coming back to life. But Yusuke's like, nah, I don't want to take the trial. I'm better off being a ghost. Nobody really likes me, everybody screams at me, everybody's angry at me, so they're better off without me. Brenton is like, are you sure? And Yusuke's like, yeah, I'll be a ghost. I'm gonna wander around and see what I can do. Brenton is like, okay, I'll come back later. If you change your mind, tell me. He's like, I'm not gonna change my mind, but you can come back later. So Brenton leaves and Yusuke is wandering around, seeing how everybody is reacting to his death. And at night, when he gets to see his funeral, everybody is crying for him. His mom is devastated. She's sitting down on the floor, crying, just not talking to anyone. And Yusuke love's interest comes in. Her name is Keiko. She's wearing a blue school uniform. She has short brown hair. She's wearing at the beginning of the manga twin ponytails, but later on she's not wearing them anymore. She approached Yusuke's mother and she starts telling her that hey, I really cared about Yusuke. I was always there for him. I was trying to make him a better student. I couldn't, but I really cared about him. After that, Kuwabara comes in screaming, yelling, Yusuke, why did you left? You're not supposed to be dead. Come back to life. We're supposed to fight. I'm going to win next time. Please come back. And Kuwabara's friends are like, no, don't scream right here. This is not place for screaming. Kuwabara, no, I'm not leaving without Yusuke. I'm not leaving without Yusuke. And Yusuke has a ghost. He's watching all of this. He gets emotional. Botan comes in and he says like, you know what? I'm gonna take the trial. I want to be part of their lives. I want to make them happy again. I want to live with them. And Botan is like really happy. She's like, of course, let's go to the spirit world right away and so you can start your trial as soon as possible. They arrive to the spirit world and Yusuke meets Koenma. Koenma is this little baby, wearing a purple tunic with a red ribbon and a huge beanie or a huge hat with his name on it. He's really funny, he's really cute, and he's a ruler, sub-ruler of the underworld. His job is to tell you if you go to hell or if you go to heaven. Or in this case, he gives Yusuke his task for his second chance in the human world. What he does is he gives Yusuke an egg that is not important right now. That egg is going to be important until later on in the manga. But he gives the egg to Yusuke and tells him, you need to make good deeds as a ghost in order for me to give you a second chance. And that's it. Yusuke goes back to the human world and he wanders around looking for people in need, and with his ghost powers, he helps them out to overcome any hardships that they're going through. And that's it for the first part of Yu Yu Hakusho. The second part is when he comes back to life and he becomes an agent for the spirit world. Now he has to save humanity from the attack of monsters and demons. And that's all I'm going to say for the second part, because the second part is what the series is actually all about. And now I'm going to talk about the differences between the anime and the manga. You may be wondering, why did I spoil the fact that there is a second part in Yu Yu Hakusho? And the reason is that in the anime, the first part where Yusuke is a ghost, it only lasts like 2 episodes, when in the manga it's a whole volume, which are like 9 chapters or so. In the anime they skip a lot of the adventures of Ghost Yusuke, and to me those were really important because they help in the character development of Yusuke. It makes you see that he's not that bad after all, and it also presents to you this world full of monsters, ghosts, and demons. In the anime they skipped all of that and just goes right into the action. Another difference is that some supporting characters appear more often in the anime, when in the manga they only appear and say 1 or 2 things to the protagonists. When it comes to the anime, they have a lot of screen time, especially Koenma. He appears to explain better the situations that Yusuke and his friends are in, and sometimes he just does something funny or something. Thanks to the anime, Koenma became one of my favorite characters, but he's not the only one that has the treatment. A lot of the other characters that are just supporting have more lines and even having more important roles into the anime. One more difference is that every single one of the fights lasts longer in the anime than in the manga. And in the majority of the fights, that's a good thing, because it makes them more interesting and also the characters look stronger, throwing so many attacks, avoiding enemy moves and all that. But there are some fights where the protagonist is just there getting hit 100 times without doing anything, and it just becomes annoying to us, so it's better off lasting a few seconds. The last difference that I want to point out is that certain things in the anime doesn't happen in the manga, but they are additions to make the story a little bit more interesting. They're added in a really smooth way that it doesn't feel like filler, and it also doesn't ruin the pace of the story. The problem is that there are a couple of weird additions. In the manga, certain things are left vague at the beginning of it, but become important or get explained many chapters later. The anime gives a weird and early conclusion to those vague things, and when they come back later, it makes you feel confused and saying, didn't that thing just disappear 20 episodes ago? Why is it back again? Well, it's because the anime did those weird additions that doesn't make any sense. But that's it for the differences, and now I'm gonna give you my final thoughts. The plot of Yu Yu Hakusho may be a little basic, with the protagonist killing demons to save the world, because a lot of manga and anime does that style of story. But what makes Yu Yu Hakusho stand out is the cast of amazing characters, all of them with cool and colorful personalities and each one possessing a unique ability. And that's another thing. In Yu Yu Hakusho, the powers or abilities go from the normal ones that are like using light, super strength, someone that goes really fast, using fire, and all of those. But there are certain characters that have some amazing or weird power that you don't see in any other manga, and that's the impressive part of Yu Yu Hakusho, alongside the fights, and also with the fact that at some point the story goes a little dark, just a little tiny bit. The villains are really cool too, and you may end up liking one or two of them. Now my recommendation is, read the manga first, because the anime skips a big part of the Ghost Yusuke arc, and after finishing the manga, go and watch the anime. I personally liked the anime a little more because I had so much fun looking at all the additions they did. So reading the manga first and watching the anime afterwards made an amazing experience, and I highly recommend it. It's a great adventure. And that's it for this episode of Take a Bite. Thank you so much for watching, give a like if you found this video helpful, subscribe to see more content, and I see you in the next episode. Bye bye!